If you're an OnlyFans agency owner, a chatter manager, or a chatting agency owner, and you are interested in having your team sell more or selling more yourself and selling more to each individual sub and giving every single sub a much better experience during the chatting process, then you are going to want to pay very close attention to this video, because in this video, I'm going to give you the exact sales strategy that I use, that I teach my chatters to use to sell for at least $500 per day, regardless of how many millions of subs the accounts may or may not be getting, regardless of if the subs are free or free trial or from whatever platform, it does not matter. These systems work. I have now replicated this with 7 of my own chatters. And in this video, I'm going to give you the entire system. Okay, so you will, by the end of this video, be able to cobble it together and do it yourself. However, I'll tell you now, if you're interested in getting my help, one-on-one help, where I go in and I look at your accounts and I'll even talk to your team, I'll review your chats, I will implement this system in your agency, then you're going to want to watch till the end of the video, because that is now it's not a service, but it's now something that I'm offering. However, the bulk of this video will be the value. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So before we get into the actual sales strategy itself, I wanted to show you some of the results of the past 5 days that my team has produced from using my strategy. So every single day, I have my assistant compile a report of the rankings of all of the salespeople, because I give out bonuses and I think it's good for their ego to see who is number one. So October 24th, today, if you look down here, it is October 25th, which actually also happens to be my birthday. Happy birthday to me. And the day before my birthday, we've got one chatter turned in $1,000, $860, $770, $504, $503, $254, and $231. So altogether, this is, we'll call that 1,900, or let's call that 1,800 plus 770, 2,500, 3,500 if we count those two, plus another 500, we'll call that 4,000. $4,000 revenue in a day. That is not bad. Next day, 23rd of October, there was a typhoon in the Philippines, and 2 of the chatters unfortunately were not able to work. It is what it is. Shit happens. But here we've got another day, 769, plus another, we'll call that 1,000, so 1,769, plus another 600, so we'll call that 2,300-ish. Maybe a little bit more than 2,300, but $2,300 in a day. There are some fluctuations, but again, keep in mind that 2 chatters did not work. And then on the 22nd, these are the results here. So 1,000 plus 7 is 1,700 plus 5, plus 1,500, we'll call that. So 3,200 plus another 500 is $3,700. So you can see the results here are very consistent, extremely consistent. Let's check back October 21st. We've got 850, we'll call that 800. So 1,600 plus these 3, we'll see 500 each. So 1,500. That is 3,100 plus another, let's call that 600. So 3,700 on October 21st. Now, I want to stress here that all of these chatters I hired from scratch. None of them had any experience with OnlyFans management. None of them had ever worked a day as a chatter in their entire lives. I brought them on. I taught them only my system, and this has been what has enabled them to work and to sell every single day and hit these numbers consistently. Let's check this last one. October 20th. I guess we had, I don't know, maybe some guy had, I think one guy had a day off for some fucking reason. He had some funeral or something. But here we've got another day. So 1,000, 760, 500. That's, what is that? 1,700, 2,200 plus 300 is fucking 2,500 plus another 500 is 3,000. $3,000. Okay. So you can see, and this is just from the past 5 days. The numbers are very consistent. The system works. It's not like wild fluctuations. I mean, it's sales, so you're going to have a little bit of, ups and downs. But the system works. The system is consistent. And right now, I am going to teach you exactly what I do. Now, before we get into the actual sales strategy itself, I just want to take a few minutes really quick and tell you my story about how I developed this system and the struggles that I went through before putting it in place. So if you followed me for any length of time, you will remember that I have said on many occasions that I hate chatting. I don't do chatting. Chatting sucks. It's my least favorite thing to do. And that is all true. I still, to this day, have never sold a single PPV. However, obviously chatting is what brings in the money. And it wasn't until I realized that I really began to take chatting seriously. Now, the way that I realized that, this was back in, I think, let's say May of this year, so about 5 months ago. I had just recently formed a partnership with my my ex-business partner. And he had a very big agency. I had a not big agency. But one of the things that I brought to the agency, in addition to a couple models, was a chatter who was very money motivated and was very consistent and could sell on any account. And I remember every single day reviewing his chats and looking at his reports compared to the chatters that were in my, the chatters who were like already working for my, now ex-business partner. And I remember seeing the difference, and we would have arguments. And I've said many times to them, I said it to myself, I was like, if I had 10 chatters like him, I would be happy. I would be making so much money. And it wasn't until I spoke those words that I really understood. I was like, oh, well, I just need 10 of him, and then I'll make 10 times as much money. So eventually what happened is I split off from my business partner. That's another story for another time. We don't need to get into that right now, but ended up splitting off from him and immediately went to work on recruiting chatters and training them and building my own chatting system. And then, let's say 3 months later, I now have a team of 7 chatters. You saw the results. They're all pretty good. They could always be better, obviously. But to build a team of 7 chatters from scratch that are selling, let's say, an average of $3,000 a day, that's pretty darn good, especially for somebody who has never chatted successfully on his own ever in his life. Now, really quick, I have about 13 years of commission-only sales experience. I'm a communication nerd. Like, I love studying all forms of communication, psychology, pickup, networking, copywriting, anything. If it affects negotiation, if something that I say can affect somebody else's thoughts and actions, I'm interested. I want to know about it. And I've applied basically everything, well, most of the stuff that I've learned over the years to this system, which is why it's so effective. So for reals this time, without further ado, let's jump into the system. It's very technical. Okay. So if you're not a communications nerd like me, you might need to watch it more than once, but let's just jump into it and take it from there. Okay, so now we're going to jump into the actual sales system itself, and I have right here a quick little cycle breakdown of what we're going to do. I want to show you guys all of this right now because it's, I made this video complex on purpose. I wanted to get very granular with what we do so that, you're probably going to watch this more than once to get the full understanding of it. But I wanted to go over all of these steps in great detail. However, before I do that, I want to give you the bird's eye view of everything that is involved in this. So it's open, qualify, rapport break, commonality, transition, and sell. So let's get right into it. Number 1, personalize, or open in this case. What I have all of my chatters do is send a personalized opener that is unique to the person who is receiving it. So if you guys have seen my other video on 50 to 70K a month, how you do that, you will recognize this screenshot. This user's name is Yashen Chin, and the chatter sent this opener. Hi, Mr. Yashen Chin. I know that you're Chinese. LOL. I have a friend, and she would definitely say things like that. I don't know if that's your name, though. My friend is Chinese, by the way. So are you? The person replied, hi, whatever your name is. I don't mind people call me Chin, though. Actually found it funny. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the point is that this user decided to respond, possibly, because the opener was directed towards him specifically. Okay, when you personalize something, when you make something relevant to a specific user, they are more likely to engage with it, which is why I have all my chatters send personalized openers. So why do we do personalized openers? Number 1, we want to show the sub that they're getting a unique message. If these subs, okay, they are kind of a little dumb, because they're buying fucking content from girls on OnlyFans. So like, how smart can you really be? But they are at least intelligent enough to understand when they are getting a mass message. So by sending them a unique message, they are more likely to engage with that person because they know the person, or they know that there is a person on the other side of the keyboard sending them something. Another reason why we want to send personalized openers is to get a reaction from them. Pro tip, if you can get somebody to react to you in a conversation, then you are the one who is in control. The person, whoever is reacting less is the one who is in greater control. And if you can get somebody to react to you by sending them a personalized opener, then you are the one who is controlling the conversation. And as a salesperson, you need to be in control of the conversation at all times, because eventually you will need to close the sale, which is going to be uncomfortable for the buyer. And that is why you need to be in control. And then finally, another reason why we send personalized openers is to give them an easy way to respond. All too often, chatters will send a opener and it'll be like, hey, how are you? Hey, what's up? Hey, how's your day going? And not only is that, I guess that's not hard to respond to, but it's not particularly interesting. So yes, they can respond to it, but it's not really a good way to get the conversation going. And these guys, everybody's bored. Everybody's looking for stimulation, sexual or otherwise. But really, they're also looking for conversational stimulation. And giving them a personalized opener is making it extremely easy for them to engage in conversation with you. Here's a bad example of a personalized opener. Hey, Steve, thanks for the follow. Why is this bad? Because it's copy-paste. They literally just put the guy's name in here, said some, generic conversational nicety, and, sent it. And it's very low effort and it's very bad. Here's a good example. Hey, Steve, enter. New message. Thanks for the follow. Enter. I really appreciate it. Enter. You're the best. Enter. Let's be besties. Enter. So, this is not super good from the standpoint of like personalized, but I would much rather prefer this opener from my chatter, which is fun, it's playful, it's a little goofy, and it does have the person's name in it, as opposed to 20% of this, which is really just these first two messages. So how do you do a personalized opener? It must contain a play on the username. For example, let's say the person's username is Jimmy Johnson. The play on the username would be something like this. Hey, Jimmy, are you the same Jimmy Johnson from the Dallas Cowboys? For those of you who are under 40 years old and don't watch football, this is Jimmy Johnson from the Dallas Cowboys. He, I think, is now a commentator on, for the NFL or something. But by using a play on the username, right? Hey, Jimmy, are you the Jimmy Johnson from the Dallas Cowboys? By using that, by making it unique to the user now knows that this message was made specifically for him. He knows it's not copy-paste, it's very personalized, it's very relevant, and they are likely to respond to it if they see it because it has been personalized to them. Do not do any copy-paste BS when you do a personalized opener. Here's some examples of bad copy-paste BS. How are you? How did you come up with that username? This one I see a lot for new openers when I hire them because they can't think of anything to say. They're very lazy. And I have to check them and say, do not do that. Well, now, thank God I have my closers check them. But if they can't think of anything, if they don't spend 5 seconds thinking, they'll just say, how did you come up with that username? Thanks for following me. It's not bad to thank somebody. Having manners, saying thank you is fine. In fact, that's okay to put in your openers. I'm not saying never thank people. But if that's your opener, hey, Jim, thanks for following me. That's a terrible opener. Hey, Jim, thanks for following me. Your name reminds me of Slim Jim. I used to eat a lot of Slim Jims after high school. That's why I was so fat. Ha ha ha. That's much better. How is your day? That's also bad. What are you up to? It's the same thing. All these conversational niceties are not good. How do you do a personalized opener? Number one, it must contain one question, but no more than one question. Here's a bad example. Hey, Jimmy Jones, are you the same Jimmy Jones from the Dallas Cowboys? Do you live in Dallas? Is it night there? Is it nice there? When is a good time to visit? Why is this bad? Okay, because when you ask a question, you are starting a conversational thread. And the fact that, I guess you could start a conversational thread with a statement, but the difference is that when you ask a question, the other person is obligated, they may feel obligated, to answer that question. And you are starting now in this 4 different conversational threads that the user, the sub, might feel compelled to respond to. Now, if you just make a statement, the user is not going to feel compelled to respond to them, which is why statements in this case are preferable as long as you have one question. Okay, you can ask one question that the sub will feel most likely to compelled to respond to, because we want to keep things not confusing. Here's a better example. This is the same one we came up with earlier, but let's just go over it again. Hey, Jimmy Jones, are you the same Jimmy Jones from the Dallas Cowboys? Right? This is what they're going to respond to. This is what they're most likely to respond to. I've always wanted to go to Dallas. I've heard the weather is nice. I like nice weather. Step 2, qualify. So let's take this, another example. You're really bold to use your in real life name in a site like this, LOL. Where are you from? This is the qualification question. And then the user says, New York. Where are you from? Beautiful. So why do we qualify? The main reason, one of the main reasons we want to qualify the sub is to show the sub that we have a genuine interest in them. If the sub believes that you are genuinely interested in them, as improbable as that is, as improbable as it is that some random guy with a random username out in the middle of nowhere subscribes to an OnlyFans girl, as improbable as it is that that girl would take a genuine interest in some fucking random loser from God the fuck knows where, still, if you give the appearance that you are interested in them, they will be much more likely to buy. And remember, this entire system is designed to make it so that they are likely to buy. Another reason why we qualify is to tease the sub and make them chase. Now, I'm going to go over rapport breaks in the next section, but just understand for now that when that part of qualifying is not always just like asking this flat basic information. There is the step after qualifying, which will make them chase. And then finally, to show the sub that we have things in common. So people like other people that they have things in common with. Okay. If you have a lot of stuff in common, let's say you're going to go buy something. There's two salespeople. One of them is totally different than you. He went to a different high school. He's from a different country. He has a different skin color. He likes different food, whatever. And then the other guy went to the same high school as you, knows all the same people that you know, watches the same TV shows that you know, eats the same food that you eat. You have 10 things in common with them. Who are you more likely to buy from? Obviously, the second one. And that is what, qualifying is one of the necessary steps that we need to do in order to get to that point. So, what are the main topics of qualification? Number 1, profession. You will be talking to men, okay? Simps, subs, they are men. It's 50% of the population. Women are not simping. Women are not subscribing to OnlyFans profiles. They're not spending a lot of time on there trying to get to know chicks. It is going to be dudes, and dudes work. Men have to go to work. Why do they have to go to work? Because unless they're gay, they're not going to have another dude taking care of them. And even if they are, they're probably going to work anyway. Gay dudes work. And as a result, you want to ask them what they do for work. A man is going to spend at least probably 40 hours a week at his job. He knows his job better than anything, and he will have a lot to say about his job. And one of the main goals of qualifying people is to get information out of them. So asking them about their job, what they do, is an easy one. Another topic of qualification is their location. Okay. A sub who lives in Hawaii is, you're going to talk differently to them than you will talk to a sub who lives in New York. And you will talk differently to them than a sub who lives in fucking Rio de Janeiro. And you'll talk differently, compared to a sub who lives in, some fucking town in England in the middle of nowhere, right? You need to know this information so that you know how to talk to them, and obviously so that you can build commonalities with them later on. Another one is age. How old are they? Part of the reason of qualifying is that we want to see their potential as a customer. Yes, we want to build commonalities. Yes, we want to make them think that we have a lot in common with them. But we also need to understand how much effort we should put into them. And all things being equal, a man who is 22 years old is going to have much less buying capacity than a man who is 52 years old. Why? Because the 52-year-old has had an extra 30 years to work on his career. He's had an extra 30 years to learn how to navigate the world. And presumably in that time, he has learned how to increase his earnings substantially, or at least more substantially than the 22-year-old. And those are things that we need to know. Also, when you qualify on age, you're going to learn a little bit more about how to talk to people. For the younger guys, you're going to want to maybe use a little bit more slang. And for the older guys, you're going to want to maybe talk a little bit more proper. Hobbies. Why do we want to qualify on hobbies? Well, for one thing, it's a great area to build commonalities on. And also, it'll tell you a lot about the person. Somebody whose hobbies are playing video games all day is going to require a different, way of talking to him than somebody who their hobby is, golf, let's say. That's going to tell you also a lot about them. Somebody who has a hobby of working out is going to be much different than somebody who has a hobby of writing, essays on classical literature. So you need to get this information from them. And also, like I said, it'll show that you have a genuine interest in them, which is also important. Qualification questions. Here are some examples. Now, really, any question that you ask about the other person is a qualification question. So, I just put some examples here. You really, hopefully, don't need too much help, thinking of questions to ask people. Just imagine that you meet somebody that you are genuinely interested in and you want to get to know them. What would you ask that person? Well, you're probably going to ask them, what do you do for work? Profession. How old are you? Age. Where do you live? Location. And then the other two are really more kind of along the lines of hobbies, but I don't like this question, but you can ask it. What do you do for fun? What are your hobbies? I don't like very general questions like that because you're putting too much pressure on the sub to contribute to the conversation. And your responsibility as the chatter, at least in the beginning, is to carry the burden of the conversation. You should be prepared to carry 90% of the burden of the conversation in the beginning. It is your fucking job. It's not 50-50. It's not the sub's job to come up with stuff to say. It's not the sub's job to be a good conversationalist. It is your fucking job. And part of that is asking the right questions. Level 2 qualification. So what is level 2 qualification? Once you ask the sub the basics, what do you do for work? You want to ask them some level 2 qualification questions. So what does this mean? Really just means you want to go deeper on the topic. So for example, what do you do for work, Mr. Subscriber? Oh, I work at Trader Joe's. Really? How did you get into that? I've never actually met anybody who works at Trader Joe's. That's so random. How did you get that job? Oh, I applied and this and that. Oh, really? Blah, blah, blah. And do you like it? Because the people that I see working at Trader Joe's, they always seem so happy and they're so friendly and blah, blah, blah. Right? You want to go deeper on the topic. Why? So that you can get to know the sub more, you get more information from them, and you can use that information at later stages of the sale. Step 3, commonalities. So here's an example. No, actually, before I tell you the example, and before I go over this, I want to let you know that building commonalities, this is going to be the most important section in this presentation. If you are a chatter and you are struggling, build commonalities, do this with every single subscriber, and I promise you, you will make more money. So what is it? Here's an example. Sub says, the chatter probably asks, what do you do for work? Dude says, I build houses. And the chatter says, that's cool. My dad is in construction too. He is a civil engineer. So what is a commonality? A commonality is not saying, oh, cool, I love that thing, otherwise known as glazing, or as we called it in my day, dick sucking. So no glazing, no glazed donuts. Pull that man's penis out of your mouth. You do not need to do that to make money. And in fact, it does not work. Commonality is connecting the info to yourself in a neutral way. Now, yes, there will be some instances where you can connect it to yourself in a positive way. I'm not saying that's wrong. Sometimes that's right. But the reason why I, included this slide is because a lot of times when I teach chatters how to build commonalities, what they think that is just giving the sub approval for any information that he qualified himself on. Oh, you're 25? Oh my God, I love 25-year-olds. They're the best. That's the best age. That's my favorite number. Or fucking 25, whatever. I pick 25 every time. And that's not right. Okay, you want to connect it to yourself in a neutral way, at least in the beginning, so that you break yourself of the habit to like feel compelled to give the sub approval for every piece of information that he gives you. You do not need to do that. Okay, so why do we build commonalities? All right, the most important reason why we build commonalities is to give a plausible reason for our approval, a plausible reason for our validation, and a plausible reason for our emotional connection to the subscriber. So like I mentioned earlier, people feel close to people that they have things in common with. And the way to understand that you have things in common with somebody is to qualify them and build commonalities based on the information that they gave you. If you just say out of the blue, let me give you an example. Let's say you go in to buy a car, right? You're talking to the salesperson and he's like, hey man, and after 1 minute, hey, what's up? How are you? Oh, I'm here to buy a motorcycle, fucking car, or whatever. And he's like, oh, that's great. You know what? I really like you. There's something about you I just really like. I don't know what it is. Like, I feel such a strong like for you, man or woman. So here, let me sell you the car. You're going to be like, what the fuck? Why do you like me? You don't fucking know anything about me. That's weird. You're just trying to sell me this car. And it's the same thing. So you don't want to do that, obviously. You want to give a plausible reason. Now let's compare that to you go into a place, fucking guy's trying to sell you a car, and he asks you some questions. Where are you from? Oh, I'm from fucking Los Angeles. No way. I used to live in LA. I used to live right near Santa Monica. You go down like that. You have 5 things in common. It's going to be much more plausible later on when the dude decides to give you a discount. You know what, bro? This car's $5,000. I'll tell you what. Pull some strings in the back. Let me talk to my manager. Could take it for $4,500. Whatever. Don't tell anybody though. It'll be our little secret. Okay. Why do we build commonalities? Number 2. So the sub understands we don't just want their money. Again, this kind of goes back to the last one. We need to give a plausible reason why there is a strong emotional connection. And in order to do that, we need to build commonalities. So if you just jump straight in to selling, the sub is going to think you just want their money. Now, it's possible you do just want their money. It's possible you don't care where he's from or how old he is, and you don't have anything in your life that you can, connect to the information that he gave you to. But you still need to give the sub a good experience. And part of giving them a good experience is at least making it seem like you are making an effort to connect with them in some way. If you're going to buy something from somebody and the salesperson clearly does not give a shit about you and just wants your money, even if you really want the thing, you're going to be less likely to buy it. And if you do buy it, you're going to be like, man, I bought that thing, but holy shit, that salesperson was so bad. I almost didn't buy it because they were so bad. And you don't want that to happen. And then finally, we build commonality so that we can establish an emotional connection. Why do we want to do this? Well, number 1, when you establish an emotional connection, the sub will be more likely to buy from you. And here's the big one. They will be more likely to buy from you on a regular basis. Okay. If you have think about it like this. Do you have anybody in your family? Maybe you have someone in your family who's kind of a loser. Maybe you're the loser and you ask people for money all the time. Who are you going to ask for money? You're going to ask the people for money that you have an emotional connection with. Why? Because you know that they're the most likely to give it to you. Because it's your mom or it's your dad or it's your best friend from high school or like whatever it is. You have that connection with them and they will be most likely to give you what you ask for. So how do you build commonalities? Where there's 3 ways. Okay. The level 1 way of building a commonality is to basically say, me too. You're basically me tooing the other person. And I don't mean the bullshit like #MeToo that's, gone crazy the past couple of years. What I mean is like an actual literal Me Too, where the sub says, you ask them, what do you do? The sub says, I'm a student. And you say, me too. I'm also a student. The sub, you say, what are you studying? Sub says psychology. And you say, me too. I also study psychology. Now, for obvious reasons, you want to not do this a lot because it's going to be hard for you to keep track of all your lies, because you're going to be telling every sub that you do what they do or that you are the same as them. So you want to kind of limit these. If you're a chatter, you should have like an info sheet of the model where it has, a bunch of info on her and you kind of are supposed to go off that. But there will be circumstances where you want to build a level 1 commonality although they are much more rare in chatting. Level 2 commonality is I know someone who does the thing. Oh, you're a student? Cool. My little brother is a student. He's studying psychology. Amazing. So these are going to be more common, but you don't want to only do these. A lot of new chatters, when they learn how to build commonalities and they understand that like they can't do the glazing and level 1 commonalities, are impractical to do at scale. A lot of them will default to level 2 commonalities, and everything the sub says, the chatter's like, oh, my brother does that. Oh, my dad does that. Oh, my friend does that. And it's weird. It's weird. So what you want to do, you can mix these in, of course, but what you want to do is you want to get good at level 3 commonalities. This is going to be your bread and butter. This is where the art comes in. The sub says, I'm a student. You want to challenge yourself a little bit. You don't say, I'm a student, my brother's a student. What you say is, oh, really? That's interesting. I was reading an article in the Harvard Business Review, and it said that students who study under 2 hours a night do 50% worse on tests than students who study over 2 hours a night. It's kind of weird. I thought about that. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Now, what have you done? Okay, you have connected that information to yourself in some way. It's a very loose way, extremely loose way. He said he's a student. You read an article about students, about some random thing that's like, tangentially related to being a student. But you have connected it to yourself in some way. And not only that, you have provided more conversational threads or potential conversational threads for the sub to pull on. So you want to get good at these. This is going to be, the main focus of your commonality building. So now let's talk about breaks in rapport. Okay, a break in rapport, this is what is going to get the conversation playful. It's going to get the conversation spicy. It's going to get the conversation interesting. And you are going to present a little bit of a challenge to a sub. So what is a break in rapport? Anything that actively discourages the deepening or establishment of a positive connection. Okay, so if we are, I'll show you, I'll tell you an example, I guess, of the opposite of a break in rapport is like a building in rapport. So sub says, I like hot dogs. You say, oh my God, me too. I also love hot dogs. Simple. Now, why do we do rapport breaks? We want to show the sub that he needs to earn your attraction. Okay, too many chatters, they fucking trip over themselves to glaze the sub into infinity because they're like, oh, if I'm nice to them and I say I like everything they do and I approve of everything they say, then they'll spend money with me because I'm so nice. And anybody who's ever like been in a relationship, that's not how it works, right? What's the joke, gentlemen? If you're a man and you're watching this, treat her like shit and she'll love you forever. Now, that's maybe a little bit extreme. But the idea is that you don't want to give women no challenge at all. You need to be a little bit of a challenge because then she has to chase, create a little bit of space. And the same thing works in a sales situation. The same thing works when you reverse the dynamic. Okay, guys, think about this. And ladies, you can think about this too. If you're a woman and you fucking chase a man, like really chase a man, and you make it obvious and you go up to him and you say, hey, Mr. Man, I think you're hot. I would like to have sex with you right now. I'll do anything you want. At first, the guy might be like, okay, well, that's kind of cool, but what's the catch? What's going on here? Why are you doing that? He'll think something's up. He'll think something's wrong. And he'll be like, no, I don't know. So you need to do rapport breaks to mix it up a little bit and to show the sub that he needs to work a little bit to earn your attraction. Also, you need to cause the sub to chase your validation. So on the one hand, like I said, you need to make them understand they need to earn it. And a break in rapport will also cause them to chase your validation. Yes, the girl you're representing is hot. Yes, she's sexually attractive. Yes, the guy will, by the nature of the relationship already of him subscribing to the page, he will be in a simp mindset. However, when you throw in some rapport breaks, you will make it more interesting for him. You will present the hoop through which he must jump in order to get the validation. And we also want to increase the sub's desire to please you. Okay? What I want you to do, maybe I should have mentioned this sooner, but I want you to think of chatting on OnlyFans. It's less of like hi, this is my product to sell. Would you like to buy it? Yes or no? Great. And it's more along the lines of, you are going to give me money because you love me. Well, maybe not love, but like because you like me, because I'm an interesting conversationalist, because you like my attention, because you have learned to link doing what I ask or doing what I want to me saying nice things about you or doing nice things for you. And because you value me so much, you are going to have a very high desire to do it. And breaks in rapport are the key. So let's give some examples of rapport breaks. Number one, you and I would never get along. Now you don't want, okay, so before I say this, you don't want to just float these out there and not follow them up with anything, because done improperly, they can seem mean or they can seem serious, especially over text. If you're in person, you can say this shit and like they can understand it. You smile, you laugh, whatever. But if you just say, you and I would never get along, over text, it's very robotic. You and I would never get along because you are a math teacher and I got such bad grades in math. Like I have this like trauma against math teachers. And like, even though I'm kind of enjoying talking to you a little bit, like, oh my God, you're a math teacher. Oh, I got to stop talking to you. Next one, I was starting to like you until you said that. Next one, I can't believe you just said that. Now I want a divorce. Next one, are you serious? I think we need to stop talking now. And then finally, uh-oh, red flag. These are all examples. Okay, these are not the only ones that you can use, but these are examples of breaks in rapport, which, as you remember, is anything that discourages the strengthening or deepening of a positive connection. Now, obviously, these are all, they are ideally jokes or said jokingly or softened in some way so that the guy doesn't literally think you want to stop talking to him because he's a fucking math teacher. But you still by the act of saying them, you are making a conscious decision to not glaze him nonstop. And they will recognize that and they will appreciate it and they will understand the flirtatious tone. So let's talk about push-pulls. What is a push-pull? A push-pull, this is a positive and negative statement. It's saying something positive and then saying something negative, or saying something negative and then saying something positive. This is a strategy taken from pickup, as are, the ones on this previous slide. These breaks in rapport, these are also taken from pickup. And I took them from pickup because they work. So we're going to go over push-pulls. This is a very effective technique, and you should be doing push-pulls. You should really be doing breaks in rapport, or specifically push-pulls, throughout the entire interaction. You want to push-pull, maybe not on the qualify, but like once you start to get to know the person a little bit, pepper in some push-pulls constantly. So why do we do them? Number one, it creates intrigue. Anytime you do a break in rapport and you provide a negative statement, even if it's immediately followed by a positive statement, the sub will want to know why. They will want to think, what do you mean you can't talk to me anymore? Why? What's your beef with math teachers? That doesn't make any sense. That's so random. So it creates intrigue. And anytime you create intrigue, you are hooking the sub a little bit deeper into your world. And if you want to get them to fucking send you money, guess what you need to do? You need to get them into your world. Number two, why we do a push-pull is because it is flirtatious. Now, I really, I've reviewed a lot of chats of chatters, my chatters, other chatters. Mine are good now because I fucking drilled this into them. But I reviewed many other chatters, and it's like, you guys have no idea how to flirt. Zero. You either don't know or you don't care, and it's embarrassing. So all you have to do is just do some push-pulls, and that's the secret to flirting. Oh, like you say, Jimmy, you're actually kind of a funny guy. And I'll bet that was really hard for you growing up. Like people teased you because you were so funny. Whatever, something like that. Okay, you say the positive thing, you're a funny guy. And then you say the negative thing, and I bet that probably teased you a little bit as a result. You're not disqualifying them from talking to you. You're not disqualifying the relationship. You can do that as well, but you don't need to. Just positive statement followed by a negative statement. And then finally, we do a push-pull because it causes the sub to chase. Okay, why does that work? Why does this work? So, number one, you're basically saying you're saying the positive and the negative statement. The positive statement is basically saying, I approve of you, I like you, I'm attracted to you, I feel like this could potentially go somewhere. And then the negative statement is saying, but there's this issue there there's this problem, there's this condition that needs to be met, that may not be possible for it to be met, that is going to prevent that from happening. And so by presenting that problem to the sub, they will become interested in solving that problem. You are dangling a little piece of string in front of them for them to play with. So let's give some examples of push-pulls, okay? I can tell your trouble and I kind of like it, right? So that's actually that's a push-pull. You're pushing, I can tell your trouble, pulling, and I kind of like it. This one, pull-push. That's actually really hot and I hate it, or I hate that I'm reacting that way to it. Say the guy says he has a motorcycle. You could say like, oh my God, guys with motorcycles, like that's so hot, but I don't know if I should talk to you anymore because my last boyfriend had a motorcycle and like he was really toxic and that probably means you're toxic, blah, blah, blah. Right. So you kind of, play with it a little bit, but you can balance it out is the point. Number 3, you need to stop doing that or I may fall in love with you. Obviously said as a joke. Let's say the guy, he's funny. He makes a joke, whatever. I don't know. Or let's say he buys a fucking $100 PPV. Well, you better stop buying those PPVs, buddy, or I might fall in love with you. Number 4, I hate guys who blank. They always turn me on so much. Or I know they're bad for me, but I can't help but get a little turned on by them. You can modulate the intensity of the positive and negative statements as well. How to do the push-pull. Let's get a little technical with it. Number 1, you want to say something flirtatious or sexual, but frame it in a negative way. Oh, you're an engineer? Are you serious? Damn it. I hate talking to dorky guys. I have such a soft spot for them. Shy guys really get me hot for some reason. And you can substitute engineer with you like anime, or you ride motorcycles, or you're a construction worker, or you're black, or you're white, or you're Chinese, or literally anything about them. Anything about them. Oh, you're blank? Oh my gosh. I hate talking to blank. Because every time I talk to blank, I end up naked at 3 a.m. in my fucking room, masturbating, whatever. Some dumb shit. Okay? You say the positive, flirtatious, sexual thing, and then frame it in a negative way. It doesn't need to be flirtatious or sexual either. It can be neutral as well. But if you're trying to transition into selling, then, up the intensity a little bit. We'll talk about that more later. So let's review everything here. I know it maybe has sounded a little bit confusing, but it's really not that confusing. This is an example conversation. The chatter says, what do you do? Which is a qualification question. The sub says, I'm a doctor. The chatter says, oh no, a doctor? I think we need to stop talking now. That's a break in rapport. The sub asks, why? The chatter says, my ex was a doctor. I was in love with him, but we had a toxic relationship, which is the commonality. That's a very simple, very short example, but it should give you an idea of how to do this cycle, which is literally the secret to getting the sub attached to you. So obviously you would want to pad this out with some fluff. Oh, what kind of doctor are you? Maybe some level 2 qualification. How did you get into that? How was medical school? Where did you go? Oh, you went to fucking Kentucky. That's so interesting. I love Kentucky Fried Chicken. I don't know, whatever. You want to pad it out, right? Pad it out. Don't just go from, oh, what do you do? I'm this, commonality break report. Oh, how old are you? It's going to take a little bit more time. You got to send more messages, but in general, this is the skeleton of what you want to do. Step 4, transition to selling. This is a major, major problem for many chatters because, well, let's look at this example. It's 7 a.m. I'm just waking up. Oh, I see. I just finished working out. What did you work out? Always legs. Ha, ha, ha. Makes sense. You do have the best ass I've ever seen. Have you had any, that says sex, which I blocked it out. Have you had any sex lately? So transitioning into selling, let's actually, before we get on that, let me just tell you why this is an issue, although you probably know. Transitioning into selling is a major problem for most chatters because they either go one of two ways. Either they are way too aggressive and they're like, hey babe, how are you? I'm horny, buy this video. Or they fucking blah, blah, blah and talk for too long. And by the time they finally send a PPV, the sub is like, why are you sending me this PPV? I thought we were just talking. That's weird. So this missing step right here of transitioning into selling is crucial. And fortunately, it is something that you can do at any stage. It's not necessarily something you need to do after building commonalities. Like you can do these, and this will become clear what I'm talking about in a moment, but this is something that you can do at any stage of the interaction. So one way to transition into selling is to talk about sex-adjacent topics and use sex-adjacent phrases. So what does that mean? Basically what this means is you want to use words or use phrases or get on topics that are going to be somehow related to sex in some way. Talk about different body parts, for example. I don't know, whatever. My leg, my legs are so sore because I had such a crazy workout yesterday. I'm doing this new leg routine, blah, blah, blah. Sweat, that's an obvious one. Oh my God, this is like so obvious. Like he's seen this a million times. I'm so sweaty. I just got out of the gym. I need to go take a shower, right? Penetration, penetrate, you use words like that. What do people think of? Penis and vagina. Excitement, this one's a little bit more mild. Fun, also a little bit more mild. Adventure, kind of mild as well. You can say to a sub, when you're getting to know them, what's the most adventurous thing you've ever done? That's not sexual, right? And then he says, oh, I climbed a mountain, I did this. And then you can say, oh, okay, well, now what's the most adventurous thing you've ever done that's sexual, right? But by asking the non-sexual question first, you have been like less obvious about what you're doing. You can talk about holes. Oh my God, there's this big hole in my wall I need to fix. Sometimes like it's so big I can stick my whole fist in there, right? You're using like words that will get his imagination going. Taking care of you. If the sub is sick, the sub has a problem. If you're sick, oh, I wish, I'm sick right now. I just wish somebody would take care of me. That can be take care of me financially, take care of me sexually. Using words like meat and tender. You've heard girls, if you talk to girls, you've heard them say shit like, oh my God, I love meat. I can't stop eating meat. And it's like, even if they don't mean it that way, I already think to myself like, all right, I get what you're saying, girl. Pet, right? Pet can be used in a couple different ways. You can pet somebody, right? The verb pet, or you can say somebody is my pet. Love, that's kind of an easy one. I love this. I love that. Bad. Oh, I'm a bad girl. I did a bad thing. Shaved. That doesn't necessarily have to be, shaving your genitals. Although when you say shaved, like when you read shaved on this list, that's probably what you think of. Well, guess what? That's what the sub's going to think too. Going out, right? If you're going out, you went to a nightclub, got dressed sexy, you're a little drunk, you're a little, inhibitions are gone. You can use words like come, which is obvious. Flexible. Oh, I'm very flexible on that. You could say deeper. Oh, I want to, I was scuba diving today and it was fun, but like, I really wish I could go deeper. I like going really deep. Ha ha ha. That's what she said. Okay, so what is the goal of the transition phase? Should be obvious, but the main goal of the transition phase is to move the conversation towards selling, or at least to shift the conversation back towards selling. When you start talking to a sub, like if you're doing it properly, if you're doing it according to my system, you are going to get on some topics that are not sexual. You are going to exchange some information in a way that is not flirtatious, that is not sexy, does not get the sub's dick hard. So what you want to do is you want to pepper those kind of words or those phrases or those topics in there so that they start thinking about it again. So they don't forget that you are an OnlyFans girl and you're not their like homie from high school. The second goal, or another goal, is to have the sub bring up the sexy talk. So if you are the type of chatter and the only tool in your arsenal is selling PPVs or asking for tips, then ideally you are going to want the sub to bring that up. You want the sub to bring up the sexy talk. Why? Because if you bring it up, if you do that, and this is the reason you want the sub to bring it up, the reason that I designed this entire system to be so robust and so complex is because if you bring up the sexy talk, you're bringing up the sales situation, then like it's kind of obvious. It's clear you have an agenda. But if the sub brings it up, if it's his idea going into it, well, it was his fucking idea. You're not guilty, I guess. And another one, and this is a big one, is that you can set up what I call long-term gambits. So we'll go over what gambits are in the sales section of this video. But gambits are basically ways of getting money from a subscriber for the model that don't necessarily involve selling PPVs or asking for tips. And the way that you do that is in the transition phase. Again, like I said, the transition phase, you can kind of apply that to any phase. You can kind of slide a little bit of transition in at any stage of the conversation. But the setting up of the long-term gambits is usually done in the transition phase. So how to do it? Number one, well, I guess we already talked about the sex adjacent topics. Let's go over these as well. These are double entendres. A double entendre is a phrase or sentence that can be misinterpreted with a sexual connotation. So the previous slide, the sex adjacent topics and phrases, those were kind of words or phrases that you could use. These are actual like straight up sentences that you can go and you can say. I'm not going to go over all of these, but just by reading these, you should get a pretty good idea of, inserting of the nature of a double entendre, and then hopefully when to insert it into a conversation. Get it? Insert, when to penetrate the conversation with that. And then finally, let's talk about the selling phase. So the selling phase, we'll just go through this example. PPV was sent. I took something right now to help your, something get even more angrier. Haha. Had to move to another room because my parents might catch me doing something crazy like this and such. Preparing for shower time after hard, intense workout session. Anyway, you can see this is not fucking genius level writing here. But we'll go over it all in a second. And of course, $3. So the selling phase, one thing that I want you to get from the selling phase, this is the most important part of the selling phase. And I have this graphic on my How to Be a Top 1% OnlyFans chatter on my blog, which I highly recommend you read if you are a chatter. If you're my chatter, you absolutely must fucking read that shit. But if you're not my chatter, you would be very well served by reading that. So what is a value ladder? A value ladder is an increasing set of products that you sell. And by increasing, what I mean is you increase in the price and you increase essentially in the intensity of the content. So I might have to blur out some of these words. Well, actually, these are not bad words. I can write these words, right? YouTube won't ban me. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, the point is that you start something very free, low cost, and then you increase the price as the intensity of the content also increases. Pretty simple, but it will help your sales because what is going to happen? Well, you'll see. Okay, so what are the goals of the selling phase? The main goal, and this is primarily in the beginning of the selling phase, is that you want to condition the sub to buy. So I've got a little graphic here of Pavlov's dog. If you guys know the story of Pavlov's dog, Pavlov was a scientist, and every time he fed a dog, he would ring a bell. And then he realized, or he learned one day, that even if he didn't feed the dog, he would ring the bell and the dog would start salivating because, dogs, I guess, salivate when they eat. And that's kind of what we want to do for the subscriber as well, is we want to condition them to do a specific behavior when we give them a stimulus. In this case, well, let's take the specific case of sending them a PPV. We want, when we send them a PPV, to unlock the PPV. And one of the ways to do that is by completing the selling phase in the following way. Well, we'll go over that in a second. Next thing we want to do, or another goal of the selling phase, is to make money without burning the subscriber. You want to be cool. You want to be slick, like this little fucking dabbing monkey. Okay, you don't want to be dabbing monkeys usually aren't pretty cool. But look, if you look like this dabbing monkey with this fucking gold chain, then you are, in fact, a cool monkey. Anyway, the point is that you want to make money from the sub without burning them. Why? Because it's much better to get more money out of a sub over an extended period of time than it is to get a, slightly larger amount of money from a sub once and burn them and never get any money from them again. Eventually, what you'll see as a chatter when you work an account for a long time is you will build up a list of buyers or a list of guys who will fucking give you money all the time, for no reason, basically. But if you burn them, you are not going to get that. So let's talk about the technical things of the selling phase, right? When you send content, when you send the sub something, this is what they're going to see. As a chatter, you might not be aware of this because you see the preview, right? Or you see the actual content itself. But this is what the subscriber sees. He sees the time, he sees the price, he sees unlock. And that sucks because there's no preview here. Now, there might be a way to give a preview on this or something. I've never seen anybody do it. So the point is that what we want to do is we want to give them an idea of what the content actually is so that they're likely to buy it. Okay. Now, $7 for a 3.5 minute video is a pretty good deal, but like, imagine how much more this person would sell if they had written out some sentences here, a nice description that accomplished what we're going to talk about right now. So before you start the selling phase, you want to prepare properly for the selling phase. And the way that you do that is by writing out long PPV descriptions for one set of 7 to 10 pictures or videos. Well, it's not necessarily 7 to 10, it's 7 separate sales. So it could be one, number one could be one pic, number two could be a pic and a video, right? But the point is that you want to have 7 separate instances where you are attempting to make a sale over the course of one set. So you can combine that any way you want. It's not hard to get the chick to take an extra couple pictures to include them, because in a sub's mind, okay, I'm getting one video and 5 pictures. How long does it take fucking 5 pictures? It takes no time at all. But in the sub's mind, he's like, oh, wow, there's 5 pictures in this also? Okay, I'll pay $16. Oh, and let's talk about a bad one. All right, so here would be a bad PPV description. Here's a pic of my boobs, babe. You're gonna love it. And this is pretty standard what you see from chatters. It's just god awful, lazy. You're gonna love it. I promise. It's the best. My boobies are great. Terrible. It's not really, it's descriptive, I guess, in that like they've actually said what's in it. Some chatters don't even do that. Some chatters are like, here you go, babe. Have fun. And it's like, motherfucker, what's in here? And yes, I understand it's a pic and this is a video, fine. But like, take the point. Now let's compare that to this one, okay? I know you love my big, juicy tits, so I took this quick photo to get you all hot and bothered. I'm sitting in my chair looking over you with my massive milkers just hanging down and dangling in front of your face. Just imagine yourself sitting below me with my big boobies swinging and blah, 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 on and on and on. Now, if the guy is a boob man and he likes this chick and he's, said like, oh my God, your tits are amazing, blah, 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 he's going to read this and he's like, oh my goodness, boobies. I love boobies. And this is boobies? Okay, fuck it. $7, done. Why? Because what have we done here? We've adequately described what this guy is going to get. Okay? He knows just by reading this if he's going to like this or not. That's it. Okay? And it's crazy to me that most chatters will send PPV descriptions like this. And it's like, I really don't know. Is it an IQ thing? Maybe. I have no idea. But bottom line, even if you have low IQ and you're an idiot, you can write fucking PPV descriptions like this. And you can pre-write them for the entire script. If you're a manager, if you're an owner of an OnlyFans agency, tell your chatters, be like, okay, chatter bros, I want all of you to write out long PPV descriptions for one set, and I want you to sell that set today. That's what I do for mine, and it fucking works. So let's talk about why your PPV descriptions suck. Now, you should know that if you have good PPV descriptions, you will sell more. If you have bad PPV descriptions, you will sell less. So, number one, the main reason is that they are not descriptive. They do not describe what is in the video or picture. This describes what it is. You can have no preview here, and you can read, oh, my big juicy tits, she's sitting in a chair, her boobs are hanging down, so the camera's probably like, from below, her boobs are swinging back and forth. Okay, so we know what's in that. And then compare that to like this one. Okay, it's boobs, but like what else? Are you sitting? Are you standing? Where's the camera angle? Is it daytime? Is it nighttime? Like what's going on here? So you need to be descriptive. Number two reason why the PPV descriptions are not good is because they are not vivid. They do not stimulate the subscriber's imagination. I always tell my chatters that, and I say it in my YouTube videos all the time, when you write a PPV description, it must get the sub's dick hard. If you get their dick hard, they're more likely to buy it, and more likely to buy it by a lot. Not a little bit, because they're going to be reading it and they're like, ooh, I'm so stimulated. Ooh, I kind of want to see that. How much is it? $20? Fuck it. My dick's hard. I'm not thinking straight. So you need to make them long and you need to make them vivid. Okay, so what are some tests that you can do to know if something is a good PPV? Number one, you can do the imagination test. Does the description vividly describe what is in the content? I spelled content there wrong, but whatever. Does it pass the imagination test? If I close my eyes and you read me the PPV description, will I be able to imagine what it is without any effort, just by listening to your words? If I send that PPV description to somebody and they can't see a preview, they can't see anything, will they be able to understand exactly what is in the video just by that description? And then the boner test. Will the description give the sub a boner when they read it? And a good way to determine whether or not it will give them a boner is, does it give you a boner if you're a man? If you're a woman, I don't know, fucking ask a man. But like, if you were a dude and you write a PPV description and you start to like get a little bit into it and you're like, oh, that's actually really fucking hot. The PPV description can be hotter than the content itself. And if you're a good writer and you learn how to fucking use the right words, then it probably will be. Because you, as a man, can probably be a better writer than the girl can be a performer. But whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is that you write the nice PPV description so that they will buy the content. Does it give you a boner when you read it? If it does, it will probably give the sub a boner when he reads it. Okay, so I always say the first sale should be under $5. Should be $5 or less. Why? Because everyone can afford $5. Now, I know there's a lot of chatters out there. There's a lot of people out there who are like, don't sell cheap content. It'll devalue your model's brand. Guys will get used to paying low amounts. And those are all fair arguments. But at the end of the day, if you remember that our goal in the selling phase is to condition the sub to buy, the way that we are going to do that is by making it as easy as possible for them to buy as we can. And one of the ways we do that is by selling extremely low price content. Now, I'm not saying don't send a 10-minute video for $2 or $3. No, a couple pics, for $3 or whatever, like he'll unlock it. If you're having a good conversation and he doesn't want it to end, he will unlock it for fucking $3. Why? Because everyone can afford $3. Second reason is because if they won't spend $5 or less, you can ignore them. Okay, if they won't spend, let's say they have money, but they're just like, oh, I never buy content. Well, fuck you, bro. Like, I just won't talk to you then. You don't need to talk to every sub. Just because a sub is responding to your messages, just because he's typing out long paragraphs, doesn't mean he's a fucking buyer. It doesn't mean he's going to buy anything. I mean, yeah, that's a pretty good indication that he is a buyer. But who knows? Maybe he fucking just railed a bunch of Adderall and he's 18 and he has no money and he's going to be up all night and just wants to talk to somebody. And he spent his last $5 to subscribe to your OnlyFans page. Who knows? But if they won't spend the money, if they won't buy the cheapest price PPV that you offer, don't talk to them. You can ignore them. Done. Easy. And also, as I said, $5 will get them in the habit of buying. It's very important. Do not underestimate getting people in the habit of buying content from you. If I know that every time, think about it like this. If you knew that when you sent a PPV, the sub would unlock it, 100% chance, you'd be sending them fucking all kinds of PPVs. You wouldn't care about price. You wouldn't second guess yourself. And that, I don't know if that's possible to get them to unlock every one, but you can increase your percentage that they'll unlock the content, thereby increasing, the amount of money you make by getting them in the habit of buying, by making buying for them a non-painful experience. So some tips about the selling phase. If you are a new chatter, start with small increases as you go down the level, as you go down the scale. That's fine. All right. And again, I can't speak for every agency owner out there. Some people might have a different strategy than me. But for me, if you're a new chatter, I want you to make a lot of sales. I want you to collect a lot of money. I'm less concerned with you collecting a lot of money. Yes, that's fine. But I see the value in closing a lot of sales as a chatter. Helps to build your confidence, helps to, have you understand that yes, okay, I can do this. This isn't just something that the veterans can do. This isn't like some magical, mystical thing that I can never figure out. No, I fucking made 20 sales today, and like, well, clearly it's possible. And it's much easier as a chatter to go from $5 to 7 or $5 to 10 than it is to fucking charge right out of the gate and do 5 to 25. If the sub is new, start with small increases. Okay. Now this is one of those rules that you can break as you get more experience with my system. You know, if you're a chatter and you have a lot of experience, it's probably bad experience, no offense. Or a lot of it is probably bad. You probably built up a lot of habits that are bad. You probably relied too much on your agent, on your boss to generate traffic for you. You didn't really learn how to sell very well. You just like took advantage of, you were just the body there to like sell to the super horny guys that came in. And if they didn't buy, like you didn't know what to do. So when it comes to whale cultivation, like what we're talking about here, if the sub is new, you want to start with small price increases. And then again, this is my personal bias, but again, I'm the one who's making the video, and I think that a little bit of money is better than no money. Okay, I would rather have you make a bunch of small sales and close less than make a couple big sales on one day and sell nothing on the other day. And this is me personally. I value consistency. I value stability, especially in a sales role, because I did commission-only sales for a very long time. I understand you don't always know how much you're going to sell. So if you have to sell a little bit less, that's fine. I would rather you do that and maintain your emotional, health and your mental health than like roll the fucking dice on every single sub and hope that they buy something, for you to hit your numbers that way. So what you need to understand is that during the selling phase, you can always sell them more later. Okay. The subs aren't going anywhere. They're not going to, fine. Some of them delete their accounts. Sure. But chances are they will still be there tomorrow. They'll still be subscribed. You can still sell them more. You can still continue the conversation with them. If they're having a good convo, if you've built commonalities correctly, if you've done some break and rapport to tease them a little bit and get them thinking about you, you can always do it more later. Another thing you need to understand is that trying to sell too much too soon will burn the sub. This is a great way to burn subs. There's no point in burning subs. If you try to sell too much too soon, if you jump out of the gate with $40 sales, $50 sales, yes, that will work on some guys. I'm not saying it never works. But remember, we're going after longevity here. We're going after whale cultivation. We're going after lifetime value of the subscriber, not trying to jam them for $100 and then, never talking to them again, or them never wanting to talk to you again because they feel like they got taken advantage of. And then finally, what I want to remind you is in the selling phase, your job is to get the money. Get the fucking money. Now, this doesn't mean be aggressive. This doesn't mean only sell. This doesn't mean only send PPVs and nag the shit out of them if they don't buy. This means you need to do whatever it takes to get the fucking money. And if you want to follow this system, guess what that means? You need to do the prep, right? You need to do the prep. You need to lay the proper fucking groundwork so that you can get the money. You need to do the personalized opener. You need to qualify. You need to do the breaks and rapport. You need to build the commonalities. You need to transition into selling. You need to do all that stuff. You need to price the PPVs at a reasonable increase. That is how you get the money. Okay. It's not, sure. Again, like I said, I'm sick of qualifying myself here, but there's a million ways to skin a cat, but I can tell you this way, guaranteed 100% to work. I've done it. I've seen it. Well, I haven't done it myself, but I've trained multiple people to do it. I've reviewed their chats. It fucking works. And then finally, let's talk about gambits, right? What are gambits? Gambits are non-sexual sales techniques. For example, the broken phone screen gambit. I've talked about this before. What it would be something like this. Hey babe, I'm so mad today. I dropped my phone when I was rescuing some kittens from oncoming traffic and now my phone screen is broken. Can I have $200? So this could obviously be phrased more persuasively, but the general idea is that something happened in my life. I need money, and can you give it to me, or can you give me part of it? Now, this is a very deep topic that, you know, if I went over, like I'll have to do like another fucking webinar on this too. But this is something that I go over in the coaching program. I give you guys, you know, proof of all the gambits that my guys have done. And I help you make your own gambits. But in general, this is a very good way to collect funds from people without selling content, without saying, I hope you're horny, baby, buy this $100. Okay. When you understand that that is just one way of getting money, the whole world opens up to you. Okay. You can get that. You can come up with any reason. I mean, as long as it doesn't break the terms, as long as it's not meeting up, you can come up with any reason for them to purchase from you, to send you money. Any reason that you can think of that does not violate the terms. Okay. When you understand that, when you understand the power of gambits, then you will make a lot more money, and the money will come much easier. Okay, let's talk about post-sale in the selling phase. The sub is emotionally vulnerable usually because they just, nutted, so they might have a little post-nut clarity. So you want to treat them properly. And if they didn't, let's say they, you did a gambit and they just sent you $400 or something. You don't want to say, thanks, babe, and then disappear. You want to talk to them a little bit. You want to, because making a purchase, sending money, you are emotionally vulnerable during that time as well. You have just given your value away, or you just reduce your own value. So how to handle the post-sale. Number one, you want to say thank you. Holy fucking shit. Like, I know they teach you manners in the Philippines, but like, it never hurts to say thanks again. You know what I mean? It never hurts to like thank people twice. Oh my God. It never hurts to like thank people, in the moment, of course. And then additionally, again, a day later or a week later or something. So say thank you. You want to provide aftercare in the post-sale. So aftercare, this is more geared towards like collecting money from a sexting set. But oh, thank you so much, babe. I had a great time. You're so fun. You're so funny, whatever. I always have such a great time with you. And then they'll be like, oh yeah, thanks, blah, blah, blah. And then you want to say like, okay, it's kind of late. What are you doing tomorrow? Do you have to get up early? Like, what's your day like? Do you have to work? Are you turning in that big project tomorrow? Whatever, just kind of shoot the breeze a little bit for a couple of minutes, just so they understand that it's not like, hey, thanks for your money. Now I got to go do this again with fucking 5 other people to hit my target. Okay. A little tiny bit will go a long way. I promise you. This is what's going to help. This is what's going to get people coming back over and over. And then finally, send a bonus picture. Okay. So this is something that like you should have in your sets as well. And this ideally should be free. Like the guy just busted a nut. He, is done. He's not going to buy anything else. There's no reason, there's no tension for him to relieve by making a purchase. So you send him the extra thing. Oh my God, babe, I just had such a great time. Blah, blah, blah. Look at how red my face is. Ha, ha, ha. And you send the selfie and that's it. He will appreciate it. He just spent, in his mind, he just spent a lot of money. I mean, in reality, he spent the money, but in his mind, he associates content with money. So when you give him a little bit of free stuff at the end, you're giving him a reward for making it through the entire session. Okay, let's talk about the Chatter God program. Now, in the beginning of this video, I promised that I now would offer additional help, one-on-one personal help from me to install these systems into your agency to basically tell you how to do it, reveal all my tricks, reveal all my secrets, and give you one-on-one help in your own agency so that this can happen. And the program that I've developed is called the Chatter God program. So let's get into it. What happens when you are a chatter? And this goes for agency owners too. When you're trying to hire and train chatters and manage them and all that stuff. There's a million things that you need to focus on. Your brain gets zerg rushed by all these little zergling thoughts that you need to focus on. And you are there trying to defend yourself with just a couple Space Marines and a nice little siege tank of ideas and actions. But as you can tell, it's extremely overwhelming. And you are not going to be able to focus on all of these things by yourself. It was not easy for me. I remember I would wake up every single day in the past couple months. I was like, fuck, I got to train these people. I don't know how they're going to do today. I don't know if the system's going to work. I don't know if I'm making the right changes. I finally found my way through it, and now I'm going to help you with it. There's just too much to think about when you're trying to do it. Okay, you got to hire them. You got to come up with the whole hiring thing. You got to write the job ad. You got to fucking come up with the pre-training. You got to put them through the system. You got to give them the English test. You got to do the role play with them. You got to, fucking train them. You got to monitor their chats. Make sure they're not doing anything stupid. You got to review their chats. And you got to do it not just with one person, but if you're trying to build an in-house team, you got to do it with a lot of people. So imagine if I, the genius, could help you fix all of these problems. Problem number one, hiring high-quality chatter candidates. I'm going to tell you right now, not everybody's cut out to be a chatter. Straight up. Not everybody's cut out to be a chatter. Some people are too stupid. Some people's English is too bad. Some people just don't have the desire. Some people are just punching a clock. Some people are just not good fits for the role. They don't want the money badly enough. They're not ready to put in the time. They're not ready to learn the skills. And while I don't guess right 100% of the time, I have a pretty good feel for who is going to be a good chatter candidate when I hire them. And I have now come up with a set of guidelines it's not really a system, it's more like a checklist for what I look for in a quality chatter candidate, and I can easily hand that off to you. Training them to sell. This is not easy, baby. It is not easy to train these people to sell. And I've got this lovely picture of a drill sergeant here because commission-only sales, and I know this from experience, you need to have rules in place. You need to have discipline in place. Yes, good salespeople can make it look easy, but in a job like this where emotions can run hot, and if you're selling a lot, you feel like $1 million from all the dopamine spikes, and if you're not selling, you feel like shit, you need discipline. Why do you need discipline? Because on the good days, when you're getting spiked with dopamine, you might be tempted to take off early and sell less. And discipline will encourage you to continue working and take advantage of your hot streak and sell more and make even more money. And on the bad days, where you're having a rough day and nothing's working and nobody's buying, even though you're saying the same shit, the discipline will help you get through those rough times and will prevent you from quitting on yourself. And it will turn your bad days into average days at worst. It might even turn them into good days. And then, of course, there's all the technical aspects, all of the implementation of this strategy, which, I took a deep dive on this, but still, I realized that it's not a simple system compared to what most chatters and what most chatting agencies and OnlyFans agencies employ. But I believe it is far superior, and my results speak for themselves, and you're welcome to, judge the results of other people against those. I can also help you with whale cultivation, and that's really kind of how this strategy was born. Okay, so the secret, or I guess not a secret, but the way that I run my agency is that a lot of my models don't have a lot of traffic, and I needed to squeeze every dollar out of every subscriber that I could. So I came up with a way of generating money on OnlyFans that is less reliant on having like the best traffic in the world and more reliant on having extremely high quality, motivated, disciplined chatters on the account who are ready to squeeze every drop of value out of these people. And of course, my years of sales experience don't hurt. I can also help you fix management. All right. So it's one thing to hire good people. It's one thing to hire good people and train them with an excellent system. However, maintaining their performance over an extended period of time is the biggest challenge that I'm facing currently, and that you will probably face as well once you solve the simple issues of getting the right people and training them to do the right things. Maintain performance. That's the purpose of management. That's the purpose of management strategies, is to maintain an employee's performance at a high level over a long period of time. They're going to get tired. They're going to get burned out. They're going to get bored. It's just part of the game. It doesn't mean they're going to stop doing their job, but they might operate at 75% capacity instead of 100% capacity. And if you allow that trend to continue to drop, you will eventually lose them. And I know you don't want to lose high quality chatters who are bringing in money. So I can help you with that as well. And of course, streamlined reporting. I am not an organized person in my personal life or my business. However, my employees are fucking organized as fuck. Why? Because I'm the boss and I tell them, hey, buddy, you got to be organized. So fill out some reports. Send me the reports. Also, I know that I'm not organized. And by me offloading the responsibility of organizing the agency onto my employees, I ensure that it gets done. And I have, maybe not like the most granular reporting, but like I know where I'm at on a given day. I know how much my chatters are selling on a given day. I have spreadsheets that I could look at that I should probably look at more often that clearly detail how much people are selling, what their weeks were like, what their months were like, what improvements have been made, if any. And I can hand that off to you as well so that you can get that information at a glance too. And then obviously, imagine if I could help you make more money. I can tell you personally, before I had my own chat team, I had months maybe where I did gross 20K in revenue. And I didn't have a lot of those, maybe one or two. Afterwards, I have not had a month. My weakest month, the first month that I hired and trained my own team, I did 39,000. So basically double my first month that I had my own team. Like the first month I guess I had that one chatter for a long time. So I don't know. But I guess the first month that I had more than one chatter, that I made a conscious effort to hire and train my own team of people and maintain them, 39,000. Month after that, we did 67. Month after that, we did 57. And then this month, which is, it's October, we're almost on track. I believe we'll hit 80 or 90. So the trend is up. And I know, like, I'm very good at explaining things. I'm very clear on what I did. And I know it's also very clear from my behavior, from the actions that I took in my business, what the difference maker was. And that difference maker was hiring and training my own team of chatters. So what do you get when you join the Chatter God program? Number one, you get the hiring guide and the job ads. So this is basic stuff. I'm going to give you a hiring guide, show you what to look for, show you what makes a good employee, show you what makes a shitty employee, tell you, who to give a chance to. I will teach you how to write the job ads. I guess I can make a job ad for you if you really want. It's not that hard. And obviously, if there's multiple people joining the program, I can't have you copy pasting the same job ad. So we'll figure out what we're going to do there. But the bottom line is that, whenever you're ready to post the job ad, it'll go live within an hour. It's not a huge problem. It's super easy. You're also going to get the same pre-training material that I give to all of my new chatters who want the opportunity to get a chance to work. It's not even who start. This is pre-training, right? You got to do the pre-training before I even give you a chance to show yourself on the training. It's not like you do the pre-training and then you get the job. No, that's why it's called pre-training. The reason I do this is because when they come to the training, I want them to already know what to do. And they should know that by coming to the pre-training. I've got this down to a science. I've honed it after several months, and I can very easily just hand it off to you and tell you exactly how to implement it so that the candidates that you get to the actual training itself are qualified. Well, some always slip through the cracks. You're always going to get some fucking crafty retard who slips through the cracks, who's just good at faking on job interviews. It is what it is, but this will reduce that number. Another thing you get is you get one-on-one help with your existing team. So this is me. I'm a woman. I identify as a woman, and you hopefully identify as a woman as well. We are helping each other up the woman ladder. But seriously, I will give you one-on-one help with your existing team if you are, open to me talking to your team. I know some people aren't. They prefer to be more secretive. They prefer to not, show other people who's on their team or what they're doing. I get that. If you're open to it, however, I'm happy to talk to your team. Be advised that I will be 100% honest and extremely clear in my feedback. Yes, you are a client, but I am going to be direct. I don't want there to be any misunderstanding. So you need to be prepared for that. Your team needs to be prepared for that. However, I am happy to look at what you're doing and talk to your people and see, where the breakdown might be happening or what could be improved. You're also going to get a PPV writing workshop. So what is a PPV writing workshop? This is where we all sit down and we look at a script. We look at the pics and the videos, and you or your team will write descriptions for the first one and I'll review it. And then we'll move to the next one and I'll review it. And then by the time we're done, you will have a working set of PPV descriptions to go along with your models. So, or with a script, like with one of their scripts. This, and more than that, is that by going through this, you will be able to understand how to create more of them for the other scripts of your models or for your other models. So this is going to be very valuable as well. This will definitely help you increase conversions on PPVs that you send. You also get access to the same exact organizational structure that I use to manage my chatters, how I keep track of everything, how I get them to do their reports, how I communicate with everybody, how I implement certain changes if they need to be done, how I track the reporting, how I track my numbers. I will give you access to all of that as well. If you do not have it, it can be quite useful. I'm also going to give you my compensation and bonus structure, which I believe is key to the continued motivation of my chatters. One of the things that I do, and you don't have to use this if you don't want to, if you've got some system where like you pay them low commission and an hourly, that's fine. I don't recommend that. But if you've got that already and it would be too cumbersome for you to switch to, commission only plus bonuses, I get it. However, I will provide to you my compensation and bonus structure so that you can hopefully, ideally, implement it into your own agency. This is part of management. Okay, part of managing salespeople is rewarding them with adequate rewards that are spaced at achievable milestones. And I worked for many days, all day. This consumed me for about 3 days, figuring out mathematically what the ideal compensation and bonus structure would be. And numbers have gone up about 25% as a result. So I'm very happy with it, and I'm also happy to pass it on to you. Finally, you also get chat reviews. This means that I will review your OnlyFans accounts. And again, this is if you're fucking hiring me to do this, like you should feel comfortable me like logging into your inflow and looking at what the fuck you're doing and what your chatters are doing. So like if you're not comfortable with that, I don't know, don't sign up. But like for the chat reviews, what I'm going to do is the same thing that I do for my chatters, which is where I log in and I look at their chats. Usually I do this like when numbers drop, which is honestly probably a little too late. I should do it more regularly so that they understand they're being monitored, but it is what it is. My loss is your gain, and I will do it on your accounts. So I will go through there. I will look at, a reasonable number of chats, and I will record a screen recording. And I will tell you, okay, this was good, this was bad, do this differently, say this, that next time, whatever. And I think that every time I do this for one of my chatters, their numbers go up every single time. So, if your chatters are motivated, then ideally like it would go up for them as well. You also get a one-on-one onboarding call with me where I will get you on the phone. We'll talk about where you're at, what your goals are, what your current sticking points are. I like helping people. I really do. Like I find it fun. I like solving problems that I actually know how to solve. Like I actually know how to solve this one. So that's fun. We'll get to know each other a little bit. You can tell me what's going on, what problems you've had. Do you have problems with hiring? Do you have problems with selling? Do you have problems retaining chatters? Do you have problems getting them to do what you tell them to do? What are the issues? We can go over that. We can make a game plan so that moving forward, we can focus mainly on those issues. Now, you also get a full chatting program. However, one of the reasons why I kept this to last is because this is probably the least valuable of all of the stuff. I got enough fucking videos on my YouTube channel. There's enough information in this video alone to give you everything you need. You don't need another fucking program to sit and watch 25 videos to hear me say the exact same shit that I said in this video, the exact same shit that I say on my YouTube videos. You don't need another chatting program. You don't. I'm going to tell you right now, stop with the fucking procrastination, take some action, start making some changes, start doing some shit. You don't need another one, but I'm going to make another one anyway. I'm going to make you one just because I think it would be good value, I guess. And I understand also that it's possible that you haven't watched every single one of my YouTube videos and you don't want to sit through a 20-minute video to get a point that could be conveyed in 5 minutes. fine. I understand. If that's you, then this program will be valuable for you. But if it's not, if you've been following me for a long time, if you watch every fucking video that I make and you know everything that I know about chatting and you watch this whole video, I mean, come on, bro. Do you really need another chatting program? Probably not. Let's fucking post some ads, get some applicants in, and start fucking making some moves. You also get access to a private Telegram group where I will be answering questions about, any issues that you might have. We can review some chats in there. You can also ask questions to other people who join the program. This is a new program, obviously, at the time of this recording. So, I'm not sure the rate at which it will grow. And you always have me to talk to, obviously. But as the program grows, as time goes on, you will have other people in there. I will share things in there that I'm doing that are working. There are probably other people in there who will be happy to share as well. But you get the group in case there's something that I can't answer for you. You also get one group call per week. So I will get on Zoom and I will talk about something different every week, helping you out. You can ask me any questions that you have. I can't promise that I know how to answer every single question. I mean, I am a genius, but I don't know everything. But the group calls, we'll go over something every single week and we'll talk about it, and that will help to improve you even more. What you also get, and this is arguably one of the most important things, is that you get 50 sales conversations of successful sales that have gone down by my chatters that I have screenshotted, or rather they have screenshotted, and you get access to those so that you can go through them and you can understand what a successful conversation looks like. This will be very valuable to you in training your new salespeople. They will be able to see how the whole system works, how to build a commonality, how to do an opener, how to, breaks in Rapport are new. I'm not sure if my guys are focusing too heavily on that yet. But you will see money being collected, and you will see money being collected 50 times. So hopefully from that, you'll be able to piece together, a system, well, not a system, like I have the system for you, but you will be able to piece together how to, structure your conversations in a similar way so that you are collecting money as well. So let's go over it one more time. What do you get? You get the hiring guide and job ads. You get the pre-training material to help, filter candidates even more. You get the one-on-one help with your existing team. You get the PPV writing workshop where I will help you write the PPVs that sell. You get the same organizational structure that I use to manage everybody. You get the same compensation and bonus structure that I use to keep my chatters motivated. You get chat reviews where I will go through the chats and I will review them and give you honest feedback. You also get a one-on-one onboarding call with me so we can see where you're at and where you want to go. You get access to a private Telegram group with other people who have joined the program. You get another full chatting program that will be a very concise explanation of how we do things. You get one group call per week, and you get 50 sales conversations. Woo, that's a lot. And I believe that is the final slide, ladies and gentlemen. So let's pick it up right here. Well, wasn't that a lot of information? Yes, it was. And hopefully you found it valuable in some way. Hopefully there were some things in there that you saw that you can implement into your own agency or your chatting agency. And if you are interested in joining the Chatter God program with me, what I would like you to do is click the link in the description, book a call with me, discovery call, so we can talk about, the issues that you're going through, what the problems are, your goals, where you want things to be, where you want your agency to be. I'd be happy to jump on that call with you and we can talk about getting you some one-on-one help. I can tell you that my agency completely turned around once I focused my attention towards chatting. I was focusing on recruiting. I was focusing on traffic. I barely made any fucking money. Ever since I focused on chatting and I implemented this system, earnings went through the roof. We're probably going to do, I don't know, for sure the best month this month. This month will probably be around 80K. And then I believe next month we will finally do our 100K month after only, let's call it 4 months of actually earning money. So I'm pretty proud of myself. I would love to help you guys out and get you the same or probably honestly even better results. But in order to do that, what I need you to do is click the link in the description, book a call with me. Let's set it up. Let's fix your chatting problem once and for all. Thanks for watching the video.